Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really wild intersection of ancient history, human biology, and modern optical science. We're going to completely dismantle everything you thought you knew about your favorite summer accessory. Seriously, get ready, because the way you view the sun and the way you protect your eyes from it is about to change forever.
I know that sounds totally backwards, right? But here is the absolute crazy paradox we're unpacking today. Slipping on the darkest, coolest looking sunglasses you can find, if they don't have the right scientific certification, might actually be doing way more damage to your eye health than if you just walked outside wearing nothing at all. Crazy, right?
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the invisible sun threat. Then we'll check out some ancient ingenuity with snow goggles, trace the evolution of sunglasses, expose the dangerous darkness fallacy, and finally, wrap up with exactly how to choose true UV protection.
Section 1. The Invisible Sun Threat. To really wrap our heads around why bad sunglasses are such a huge hazard, we first have to understand the invisible threat they're supposed to be blocking in the first place. And this brilliantly illustrates what we're up against. The electromagnetic spectrum is packed with invisible ultraviolet radiation. We're specifically zeroing in on UVA and UVB rays here. Notice how these different wavelengths actually penetrate to totally different depths of the human eye. They literally bypass our natural defenses to cause direct photochemical and thermal damage. We're talking about hitting the cornea, clouding up the lens, and even burning all the way back to your retina. It's intense stuff. The fallout from all this invisible radiation is pretty severe. In the short term, you can end up with photokeratitis. That's basically a painful sunburn right on your cornea that brutally sneaks up on you like 8 to 12 hours after you've been outside. Over time, that cumulative exposure leads to chronic stuff. Cataracts, which is a leading cause of blindness worldwide, macular degeneration, and pterygium, also known as surfer's eye. Oh, and if you're hitting the slopes, fresh snow reflects up to 85% of UV rays right back into your face. It's called the corneal effect, and it massively turns up the dial on the danger. Moving on to Section 2, Ancient Ingenuity, Snow Goggles. We're going to take a quick, really fascinating historical detour to see how humans were battling this invisible threat thousands of years ago. Way before modern glass lenses were even a thought, indigenous peoples in Alaska and the Arctic, like the Yupik and Inuit, engineered absolute masterpieces of survival gear. They carved these snow goggles out of raw nature, we're talking bone, whale baleen, driftwood, and designed them to fit super tight against the face to block out all ambient light. But here's the real genius. That tiny, narrow slit carved right down the center. It brilliantly blocked the blinding UV glare bouncing off the snow, totally preventing snow blindness. But wait, it gets better. By forcing the light through that tiny opening, the slit essentially acted like a pinhole camera. It focused the incoming light, sharpening their vision, and basically acting as early prescription eyewear to help hunters see far-off objects perfectly. How cool is that?
I absolutely love this quote from Yupik elder Paul John. One can see their intelligence through their things. It just perfectly nails it. It captures the deep, sustainable, and frankly, highly advanced scientific understanding these populations had. They didn't have our modern word for science, but they had this profound grasp of optical physics and human biology, letting them turn raw materials into gear that kept them alive in a totally unforgiving, sub-zero world.
All right. Section 3. The Evolution of Sunglasses. Let's fast forward from those ancient snowfields straight into the modern commercial eyewear industry we all know today. Believe it or not, the earliest version of modern sunglasses had absolutely nothing to do with sun protection. Back in the 1300s, Chinese judges wore lenses made from smoky quartz for one reason: to hide their facial expressions in court. It's like the original poker face. It wasn't until the 1700s that a guy named James Icecove started playing around with tinted lenses to help with eye strain. But the real boom, that hit in the 20th century. In 1929, Sam Foster started hawking shades to beachgoers in Atlantic City. Then the military stepped in. Bausch Lundman engineered the now iconic dark green G15 aviator lens to cut high-altitude glare for pilots. And by 1936, Edwin H. Land slapped his new Polaroid filter onto Ray-Bans, officially kicking off the modern protective sunglass market.
Which brings us to Section 4, the dangerous darkness fallacy. This evolution of commercial sunglasses popularized dark tints, but it accidentally created a massive, massive health hazard. We have to bust the absolute biggest myth in eyewear right now, the idea that darker lenses equals safer sunglasses. We literally have to separate these two concepts in our minds. Dark tints, they only optimize visible light. They stop you from squinting and make your eyes feel comfortable in the moment.
But UV coatings are what deal with the invisible electromagnetic radiation that actually causes medical damage. Seriously, a totally clear lens can offer 100% UV protection, while a pitch black lens might offer absolutely zero.
Now here is the biological trap we fall into, and it all comes down to the pupil reflex. When you walk outside on a bright sunny day without sunglasses, your pupils naturally shrink down to these tiny little dots to limit your eye's exposure to radiation. But when you slap on a pair of cheap, uncertified dark sunglasses, you trick your own brain. The dark tint makes your brain think, hey, it's dark out here, so your pupil dilates and opens way up. And because those cheap lenses don't have an invisible UV filter, boom! You've just opened the floodgates. You are inviting a massive wave of damaging UV radiation straight into the wide open center of your eye. This right here is exactly why wearing bad sunglasses is infinitely worse than wearing no sunglasses at all.
Section 5. Choosing true UV protection. So how do we outsmart our own biology here? Let's pivot to some highly actionable consumer advice you can use right now.
If you take away just one single number from this entire explainer, make sure it's 400. UV 400 is the absolute gold standard of optical protection. What it means is that the lens is certified to block 99 to 100% of UV rays up to 400 nanometers in wavelength. This is a game changer because older standards stopped at 380 nanometers, totally missing this crucial band of light that actually packs nearly 45% of the sun's most intense UV energy.
To make this super practical for you, here's your concrete mental checklist when you're shopping. First up, the label. You want to see explicitly UV 400 or 100% UVA/UVB. If it just says some vague marketing fluff like UV absorbing, put them down. Second, look at the material. High-quality plastics like polycarbonate and Trivex actually have UV protection inherently baked right into the chemical makeup of the material itself. Cheap, unspecified plastics just rely on flimsy coatings that scratch and degrade. And finally, optics. Look through them. The world should look perfectly clear, not warped and wavy like you're looking through a funhouse mirror.
So, the big takeaway here is to shop smart. Always demand that explicit UV 400 label. And please don't confuse polarization with UV protection. Polarization is awesome. It acts like a vertical picket fence to block that annoying horizontal glare you get off water or hot asphalt. It's fantastic for clarity, but on its own, it does absolutely zilch to stop UV rays. Tints are just about contrast and keeping your eyes comfortable, not safety. Oh, and if you want to check your current shades, do the tile floor test. Hold them up and look at a grid, like a tiled floor. If the straight lines wiggle or warp when you move the glasses side to side, the optics are garbage. And hey, if you're ever on the fence, just pop into a local optical shop. They can drop your shades into a UV photometer and verify their safety in like 2 seconds, usually for free. We've definitely covered a ton of ground today, all the way from ancient Yupik engineering to the tricky biology of our own pupil reflex. Remember, eye health is a lifelong game, and UV damage adds up day after day, year after year. So here's my challenge to you. As soon as this is over, go grab your absolute favorite pair of shades. Look at the label, look at the lenses, and ask yourself, are they actually protecting you, or are they just tricking your eyes in the dark? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and stay focused.